So once one feels that they have found themselves, there is then always another door to open, which is leading into the next level of experience of the self. This meditation is called the science of self because really this is how we should approach the practice of yoga, is as a science, meaning that we have always this assumption of who we are, which in a sense is our hypothesis. And at the same time, we have an incredible amount of doubt as to who we really are, which is ideally a healthy level of skepticism or a healthy level of observation to ensure that what we are seeing at first glance as being something that is authentic is not necessarily tricking us. So this idea of accepting and rejecting the experience that we are having on the inside and the outside is actually something quite healthy. But in the science, there should be a pure level of acceptance. So that then what you see as who you are in that moment, you accept 100%. This is who I am. This is the depth that I can find today. And when these threads, because they always come up and there's a level of discomfort that comes with it, of doubt, we have to honor the fact that it is there for a reason. So why is it that you are doubting your own ability to understand who you are, when it is something so incredibly natural and so real? Because that's what we're talking about, is your reality. This is not a figment of an imagination. This is you in the most authentic form. So what is it that keeps catching our attention to pull us away from the settling, the resting into oneself? And that's what I want to observe and begin to soften into with this meditation. And on a technical or practical level, we use the body, the breath, and the mind to access this place of authenticity. So it's not an intellect which is thinking about or rationalizing through. It's the feeling, sensation coming from the body. It's the experience felt within the pure form of the mind, so before and after a thought. And it's the rhythm of the breath that just keeps taking you deeper into an experience that has no words to explain it. And that's where we are going with the practice of meditation, is gaining an ability to surrender one's own hold on thought and allow the intelligence that runs through the body's systems to teach us how to become the observer. Any good science has a strong observation component. You need to watch. You need to listen. You need to see what is the long-term effects in order to determine anything concrete and real. And once we find this, which we can say, I feel now grounded, we can sit upon what we establish as being our grounded seat of our meditation and begin to observe the stillness that exists within the experience of the body, of the breath, and of the mind. And the experience of stillness exists within the space between you and I. It exists between thought. It exists at the peak of the inhalation, at the bottom of the exhalation, all the way through the breath. It exists between the cells of the body. And within this space exists potential. Pure, raw potential. Waiting for an observer. And the practice of noticing or watching this space brings life to this potential, which is then creating based upon the observer's request. So out of nothing, something happens, which then returns back to this nothingness experience. So within the nothingness between you and I, everything happens. And in this raw potential, we have an opportunity. The opportunity is to consciously develop an experience within the body, the breath, and the mind that is conducive to housing the experience of oneself. And if in fact what is being observed is actually not of this reality of the self, but is rather a modified form of the experience, we can choose to no longer observe it and allow it to rest back into the nothingness, becoming renewed energy, becoming reestablished within the potential to become something. If you decided you no longer wanted to look at me anymore, you would just simply look away, and I would no longer be there in front of you. So if you decide that this experience that you're having right now is no longer conducive, then just stop looking at it with so much intent, so much enthusiasm, and look at something different. But at the exact same time, we're not shying away from this process of development, which needs to and does not need to be there. Going through discomfort needs to be there, but it doesn't have to be there. Because within self-inquiry, which is the science, you find at its depth, at its reality, that there is bliss. This is the root, the very root of one's own experience. And through the lens, through the vibration of this sensation that they call bliss. But it's literally just a sensation that the human body feels. We then experience the emotion of sadness, of frustration, of anger, of elation, of excitement, of knowing something, not knowing something, being confident, no longer being confident. So all of these oscillations that one goes through within a single day, week, month, and year can actually be observed, felt, moved through from this authentic place of experience. And you are the ones that are holding yourself in a very specific place, saying, this is my reality. This is it. This is who I am. This is why I'm here. This is how I deal with my day-to-day experiences. So therefore it becomes a very tight loop. But the reality is that it is an endless experience of subtle changes, transformations, realizations, awakenings. Endless. There's a whole descriptor within the ancient practice of yoga that gives you a timeline of this endless. They say for the concentration to develop into becoming yogi, it takes hundreds of years, like let's say 700 years worth of continuous concentrating practice. So the concentration that comes from your eyes, but also that which you feel, which you taste, what you smell, what you hear. The concept of pratyahara, withdrawing your senses from anything that is distracting you and honing this ability to concentrate. So hundreds of years to then get to the concentration level of the yogi. And then from yogi to siddha, thousands of years. 30,000 years, 40,000 years. And then to go from the concentration level from siddha to nath, hundreds of thousands of years. And to go from nath to muni, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. And to go from muni to rishi, potentially billions of years. And even at that rishi level, the concentration is still developing, which means consciousness is still pressing out. We have not yet found the end. And it's said that there's very few rishi level forms of concentration that have been born into as many wombs as there are to be born into in order to realize the meaning of life. So this is looking at time as being non-linear. So what you call a year could be then a minute. What you call 100 years could be then days. So what you say is your reality and your level of concentration is, but is not the whole story. So how does then oneself surrender in such a way that we maintain all of our integrity, that we maintain all the concentration that is necessary in order to pierce through our own personal veils? Does this make sense? And my suggestion, my last suggestion for the festival is concentrated meditation. Into the experience of the self. Not as just a formal seat, but as a walking, talking, dancing, sleeping, enjoying meditation, which goes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Which means at this moment in time, you're going to show me who you are. So let's see, show me who you are. At the depth, this is it. This is it. This is who you are. 3, 2, 1, go. That wasn't so hard. Okay, so now we've arrived. So now again, show me who you are. And again, and again, and again. And what that does is it brings weight. Does it not? All of a sudden, you became grounded. So every time you do that, it brings weight. Brings weight until you've broken through that barrier that says this is exactly who you are. And then it shows you something completely new. But at the same time, it's creating lightness. So it's pushing the barriers beside you and above you. Every time you do it, it pushes, 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 until that barrier falls and you open up into something completely new. Every time the position, and it's literally that, the pose that you're in, every time the position gets very, very challenging and tricky within your mind, within your emotions, which is manifesting within your body, you simply show that which is coming towards you exactly who you are. And you do it again and again and again. And there's no way that this pose, which is challenging you, can survive. Because it is about endurance. So if we take this example of concentration levels and see that potentially it's billions of years worth of development, that's a long game. That's one heck of a Leela. And what wins is the eternal component. The only thing that survives is that which cannot be diminished. So everything that has a period of life and then dies is not actually strong enough, intelligent enough to go up against this quality of self that I'm speaking of. It's not eternal. It's finite. So therefore, there is never one position that should ever challenge you. And again, I'm not speaking to you as beginners. You know what I'm talking about. So do it. This is real. This is really, really happening. You really practice yoga. You really are a practitioner of yoga. You earnestly are in the developing concentration into yogi, into siddha, into nath, into muni, into rishi. That is really happening. So the doubt component that says, well, I'm from the West and I don't really know what it is, and I don't know all the stories of all these beautiful gods and goddesses, it doesn't matter, because it's about the self inside of you and your ability to concentrate, to hone your skill of relationship with that self. And all that manifests out of that experience of relationship is all of the beautiful stories that have been told for thousands of years. This is a continuation of a continuation of a continuation. And I've said it the entire weekend, but there is no way that you can be sitting here listening to this information and not have heard it before. So therefore, we're just reiterating something that you already know. But maybe you are hearing it in this way for the first time, and it's hitting you in this way for the first time. Either you're feeling more comfortable with this information, or you're feeling really uncomfortable about this information that you're hearing right now. And both is good. If I'm making you very uncomfortable, well then I'm very happy. Because this is genuine movement. If this makes you very comfortable, well, I am twice as happy. Because you've broken through that veil and you're getting to a place of deep rest and comfort. So one is this working very, very hard. Working. Many, many complexities coming towards you. That's the discomfort. The other is like a resting station. A resting place, this oasis. Beautiful waterfalls, drinking nice spring water and just resting. Breathing in this incredible bliss. But both are one and the same at its core. It's the periphery. The oasis is not real. The complexity is not real. The core of the experiencer is not even the full truth of your reality. But you have to ground into something. As the traveler, you must ground into something. So this is it. Show me who you are. What are you grounding into right now? And the rest of the sounds that you make are not important. None of that is important. It's not needed right now. Just simply let it go. And keep establishing yourself within the experience of the self, having the experience. This is the summary of the entire 4 days of meditation. We are simply the self, experiencing the self, having an experience. You're having the experience. You're observing the experience. But it's the self experiencing the self, having that. So therefore, you are the self experiencing the self. It's not a, I think I follow you game. It's, I'm just gonna give up trying and just listen to what he has to say. So let's establish this final rung of the meditation. As we close our eyes, become grounded and comfortable. As we begin to realize that our own personal concentration is actually quite significant and really the only guiding factor within the progression of our meditation and our yoga. And we concentrate our gaze, we concentrate our sense of smell, our sense of hearing, our sense of tasting, and our sense of feeling towards the self, the infinite expression of self that you see right there, that you hear as the center sound, that you breathe in through your nostrils in the most finest of ways, and you taste, and that you feel within the space directly around your body. Establish yourself within the bliss of the self. It may be just a thread of good feeling, but that's all you need is the glimmer. And concentrate all of your senses, not just your gaze, towards that experience, which you are calling the deepest experience of self. And keep going there. Do not establish in any thought or idea. Maintain returning back into what is the most authentic. Ask yourself, what is the most authentic experience that I can have now? Breathe into that experience. Again and again, show yourself to yourself and withdraw the energy of your concentration away from all that distracts you from the self. The self is felt within the space directly around the body, the space inside the body, the breath, taste, sound. What do you see? And the mind. listening to a thought and then deciding not to listen to that thought any longer. Take your listening concentration and hear the sound of the south. Hear the sound of the south within all things. Tune the dials of your listening. And feel the equanimity that it produces. Breathe in a little bit deeper with a concentrated breath into the south. Feel your breath within the space of the body. This is also a concentration. The feeling is concentration. continuously allowing the clouds of thought to float away as you observe the space between you and I. Keeping the eyes closed, bring full deep breaths into the body. Keeping the eyes closed, bring your gaze into a quality of space just there in front of you. And for 1 minute, we're going to maintain the integrity of this space uninterrupted by any other thought. Starting now. Keeping the eyes closed, soften the gaze. And hold your gaze in such a way that you allow your eyes to become watery. You allow your eyes to become renewed, seeing the world as a newborn for the first time. Very slowly, gently, without rushing, allow the eyes to open. So now, if you connect to this information, let's see, for the rest of the day, as many times as you can remember, or for as long as you stay connected, keep returning back to this place of authenticity. This is exactly who you are at the deepest place, at the highest place. And everything else floats around you like a cloud, and they can float away or stay. But you are not any of that. Realizing that for once and for all, this is real. It's really happening. You are actually a practitioner of yoga. Yoga meaning life practice. This concept of yoga before it was put into a practice format that had all of these parts. It was actually a way of describing the human experience, the process of being a human being, which was a yoga. Returning, in a sense, back to the realization that you are whole and complete. You are not fragmented. So in that, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you are within that process. And we are all attempting to strike balance. The yogi is one who has accomplished some sense of balance, or is at least conscious of the fact that they are striking balance, attempting to hit the mark. And because you're here, you are of that conscious level. Your concentration has been tuned, which is an achievement. So celebrate the fact that you understand yourself and that it is the mystery. But honor that fact. And let's continue on with the discussion. So let's get to the next step now, the next place. Just one decimal higher. That's it. Just one higher with our vibration. That's all we need. And you are doing it. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.